Wayne's out. He suffered quite a bad knee injury, unfortunately, last week in the second leg. So he won't be available. And there's probably an obvious next question to that for the guys that know Wayne about what's next for him. But we'll have that conversation next week. That Wayne and I decided that there's more important things, in his words, this week, and we just need to focus on the game. So in terms of next season, we'll pick that up with him next week, which is, as I said, his request. And unfortunately, Ollie Cooper got injured as well this week. A very innocuous slip in training. So good young player that we've got, who's been on the bench quite regularly in the latter part of the season. So he's going to be out for a little while as well. So unfortunate for him. Apart from that, we're good to go.
And just in terms of they're physically fit, it's been a long, hard season, as it always is in the Championship. But is there an extra skip in the step going into this one last push?
Yeah, for sure. It's been an excellent atmosphere this week. I see a very focused group, but a really engaged group as well, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday for sure. And we know there's obviously a lot at stake, and it's a very big game. But I really like the vibe from the lads and the way they've applied themselves in training and extra stuff that we do in the gym and meetings, etc. They're looking very enthused, and it's a good place to be.
Obviously, there are going to be fans in at Wembley, which is a great boost for both sides. But is there a sense on your part that, given that they had 21,000 in for the cup final, it could have seen a similar number going for what is an absolutely huge game this weekend?
Yeah, of course, and I think we've been without them for so long, and then you get a flavour of having a certain amount back in for the semi-finals, and it sort of has really reminded us all of how important supporters are and the difference it can make to an occasion, in terms of certainly home support, as I think we saw in a lot of the semi-finals. So I think it goes without saying everybody from both teams in the three finals would want more supporters in such a big stadium if that was the case. So it is a little bit sad, yeah, and it would have really added to the occasion. It's always a special day at Wembley for whatever game you're there for, and the more people that are watching would be the better. So in some ways it's good that there's some fans there, because we've had nobody watching our games for so long. But in other ways, you're right. You wish it could be, at least the same as at the FA Cup game.
It's a great day out, obviously, for the fans who can make it there. For all of us observers, it's always a dramatic occasion. It is a fantastic occasion. Can you, as a manager, see it in that same light? There's so much at stake on this one. Can you see it as an occasion to enjoy in the way perhaps a team would a cup final? Because there's so much riding on this one.
Yeah, I think it's. I think you have to get the balance right between understanding the context around the game and what's at stake and the magnitude of it, because there's no point in ignoring that, because it's different, isn't it? It's so much to play for. But then at the same time, on the other side of the balance, it is a game, and you still have to sort of stick to your way of working and stick to the plan and give consistent messages and consistent behaviours so that the players feel as comfortable and as clear as they can in terms of going into the game. And I think all the finalists will have a similar sort of approach. And I guess in the end, you want your team to be as ready as they can be come the start of the game, and in the best place possible to go and deliver. And that's our approach. No different, I think, to anybody else, and one we're really committing to.
Just finally from me, because I know we've got you for a one-on-one afterwards, so I won't keep it too much longer and let the others jump in. But just in terms of, we asked Jamal about it just now. Swansea led the boycotts really of social media this season. We saw others follow as well, but we saw again more evidence of it last night with Marcus Rashford saying how much abuse he'd have. From your perspective, is there anything else that the clubs can do at this stage, and on that general sense of boycotts, but also for your players as well who might face that?
Well, I think first and foremost, we can't give up, and we can't do less than what we're already doing. I think that's the first thing. Is even though it can be constantly disheartening to I heard obviously through the media what went on last night, and I'm sure there was something the week before and the week before that, and so I'm sure it can become really disheartening to sometimes feel like you're not getting anywhere. And I think the moment that you give up or stop doing what's being already done is not a good thing. So I think that's the first thing, is we've got to keep doing the minimum. The minimum we've got to do is keep doing what we've already been doing. But we've just got to keep fighting. We've got to keep throwing the messages out there. We've got to keep educating everybody, particularly the younger generation. We've got to keep reporting issues correctly, and we've just got to keep fighting the fight, and that's what it is. It's a fight against something that's unfortunately exists in society, particularly the football society, and the more good we can do the better. And on our point of view, yeah, we took a bit of the lead on the boycott. It got a bit of traction at the time, which I think was good, but it shouldn't be forgotten, and we should all keep building on things. And sometimes you feel like you're making progress, and sometimes it feels like you may be getting further away, but we've just all got to stick together and keep fighting, on all parts of discrimination.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Steve. We'll speak to you at the end of this as well.
Thanks, Roger.
Cheers.
See you, mate.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Gareth. You okay?
You okay? Yeah. Can I ask, what do you think? What do you think a win on Saturday would mean for the football club and also for Swansea, the city?
Say that again, mate.
What do you think a win on Saturday would mean?
Oh, win! I thought you said Wayne. I thought you said Wayne. Well, of course, it's why you're in the Championship. You want to get to the Premier League. There's two ways of doing it. There's automatic and there's the playoffs. And we've managed to give ourselves a chance of getting through the playoffs. It would mean everything, wouldn't it? It's been there before. The club, obviously, long before I was here, and that journey was a special one. Then it was taken away through relegation, and clubs had to re-establish yourself and somewhat build a bit of a different identity and rebuild, if you like. And to think that we've got to the last game of the season and give ourselves a 50-50 chance of winning, and that's what a final is, then it's something that we've really, really got to go for. And it would mean everything to the city, everything to the club, and everyone's aware of that. We've talked about it at length amongst the players, amongst the staff, and it's a massive motivation to try and go and get the job done. But at the same time, we've got to focus on the job and what it takes to get it done, and that will always be, the performance and the mentality and obviously winning the game. So yeah, we know what it means without maybe talking about it too much. What I can assure supporters and yourselves is we know exactly what it means, this game, and it's our biggest motivation.
What would it mean to you, though? You're still a relatively inexperienced club manager, aren't you? Your second full season to get the club into the Premier League.
I understand that, but it's not in my nature to think about personal gain. I'm trying to lead a culture here that's about collaborative approach, about togetherness, about no hierarchy, about everyone has a voice. So I have to think like that myself, and I do. So it's not about what it means for any individual. It's about what it means for the greater good of the football club and the city. And I'm just one of them, So okay, yeah, I'm in a prominent role. I understand that, but in the end, we're just one of a greater good of the football club.
You obviously had some really big games with England, didn't you? But this would be, I guess, your biggest one yet, wouldn't it?
In club football, yeah, of course. It doesn't in terms of Championship, it doesn't get any bigger than this, does it? Unless you're fighting for an automatic one, and it's a game that could clinch that. So I would be no different to anybody else in this. But again, I haven't really thought about it being my biggest game in management. I just thought about what it means for the football club and the supporters and everybody connected to the club, because it's a proud city, it's a proud football club. It's very much together. Club has a massive impact on the community because we haven't got loads of other clubs around us. So we we have an important responsibility to do right. And I'm just one of them. So going up to Wembley on Saturday is a real together club trying to do the business.
It's 10 years almost to the day that Swansea got into Premier League the first time through the playoff final. Have you seen that final? Have you seen that game? Are you aware of how that one went? I know you'll know who won, but how the game went.
I know you know as well. Yeah, of course, because it's steep in the club's history, as is so many other. You know, the game against Hull in the last game of the season, as the League Cup. You know, I've seen Nathan Dyer this week. Had a good chat with him. Tatey obviously sits on the coaching staff, so it's. I understand that there's some games that sit in the memory more than others in supporters' minds, and that would have been one of them. And you know, to think that we've got the chance to have another game like that is really motivating, and one that we're just so excited about and can't wait to get going.
What about Brentford, Steve? You know them well, don't you?
Yeah, no, good team. Yeah, no, obviously, you know, we've had two really tough games against them this year. Didn't play so well in the game at home, as I sort of mentioned before. But you've got to get it right against them. You know, they are an excellent team with a lot of really good players. So we know that, and we thought the same when we played them in the league, as so many other good teams that we've come up against. But as always, you know, we've got to think about how we win and how we approach it, and how, you know, we become the best version of ourselves, because in the end, that is what comes first. Is about like what we bring to the table and what we bring to the match. So yeah, for sure, a really tough game, as it always is against Brentford, but one that we're really focused on and looking forward to.
I think there's been a bit of needle in your games with them over the last couple of seasons. Do you think that'll have any impact on Saturday?
I don't think so. No, I think this is different. I mean, the semi-finals I thought were different to the games that we had with Barnsley. You know, there was a lot said about the league games we had against Barnsley, and then the semi-finals were so different in so many ways. And I think this will be the same. You know, whatever's gone on in the past, good, bad, indifferent, I don't really think has an effect on this one. You know, you play any team, you know, after a few months of playing them before, and lineups will look different. You know, we play a different formation now to what we did back then, and they might be a different formation as well. So there's lots of differences. Yeah, of course, some things the same, but I think you just got to take the game as it is.
Thanks, Steve. All the best.
Thanks, Gareth. Thanks, mate.
Hi, Steve. It's James at TalkSport. How are you?
James, okay, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Steve. I wanted to take you right back to the very start of your coaching journey with Wrexham, when you were just a teenager then. What were your ambitions in the game then? Was it always the dream to one day lead a club out at Wembley in a game like the one you've got coming up on Saturday?
I wasn't really thinking that far ahead, if I'm being really honest, James. I think back then, my biggest objective was to stay in the job, which has been a lot of my objective. No, I've been coaching for a long while now, and I just really enjoy working with good players. I really enjoy working with players and trying to help them along the way. And I've worked in some great organisations, inclusive of the one I'm in now, and will always be a coach at heart, you know, which is on the grass, working with players, trying to push them, trying to develop them, trying to help them, guide them, whatever it may be. And in the end, that's what coaching is, and it doesn't really change. What changes is the context around it, and obviously is a bit different now compared to what it was back then. But you know, as a professional, if you like, is coaching's, you know, something that I've really committed to, and thinking about where it might take me. I haven't really done that ever. You know, I sort of just let it take its own path. But like I said before to Gareth, I'm very much don't think about my own journey or what's been or what might come. I just think about the organisation that I work for and what is their collective objective. And obviously ours at the moment is with lots of objectives around the football club, but wants to try and get back to the Premier League. And, you know, we've got a great chance to do that on the weekend.
And when you look at some of the lessons that you might have learnt when you were right at the start of your coaching journey, do any of those lessons and and principles still apply now and still a part of your thinking now as a coach?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what life in general is. You pick up things as you go. You make a load of mistakes as you go. I think the important thing is to learn from it and to really have good enough self-awareness to realize what you really believe in and understand who you really are. And I don't just think that's for coaching. I think that's for life. And yeah, that's and that will continue. That will continue. I think it's only my second year as Gareth said in management, and there's so much that's happened in them 2 years that I will be better for. Made a lot of mistakes. Some things have gone right, but we're always aiming to do better.
I know you really don't want to make it about yourself this week, but how do your emotions compare?
Well, don't then. Stop asking questions.
How do your emotions compare to building up to the World Cup final with England in 2017? And is that experience helpful leading into a game like this?
I think all big experiences help you, and it gives you something to reflect on. And in some ways it's the same, and in other ways it's so different. I very much focus on what's in hand and look forward and what I'm in control of, and that's just at the moment is trying to help a group of players and staff get ready for a big game on the weekend. And I'm not thinking too much else apart from that, James. I know it sounds a bit sort of boring, but that's where I am. That's where my focus is. We got a football match to play. It's a big one. There's lots of stuff around it, but it still is a football match, and we need to be ready for it. And anything for me individually is not something I think about too much.
And in terms of the football match itself, you've drawn twice against Brentford this season. Are you expecting it to be a game that will be decided by the finest of margins?
I think these games can go anyway. It's hard to really predict what it might look like. What I do know is there's two really good teams that are going to have a go at implementing their way and their style to try and get the best performance and result. I've already said that Brentford are an excellent team with excellent players, and you have to be ready to play them. But I think we've shown throughout this season that we can win all types of games. We've played some excellent football this year. There's been times where we've maybe not played as pure as we'd like to, but we've managed to get results because of the schedule and playing tired and playing on in different pitches and weather conditions. And we've shown that sometimes it's about heart and soul. So I think what this season has given the teams that are still in the mix is a bit of everything to prepare for the final. Whether it's tactically, technically, physically, certainly mentality. I think this season has been one where you've had to do everything. And I said on many occasions, it's really has been a survival of the fitness, both mentally and physically. And to think that we've got through it, when we're in the last game, tells you how many good things we've done this season. And we've just got to really build confidence from that, knowing that whatever will be needed to win the game on the weekend, that we've already shown that we can do it. So we take confidence from that.
And just finally from me, Steve, we spoke to Jamal Lowe a few minutes ago, who spoke about his experience as a PE teacher. You've got the likes of Jamal, you've got the likes of Andre, who's had an incredible experience in the game, Wayne Routledge, but then you've got the younger players that have come in this season as well. What has been the key to bringing this group of different individuals together and turn them into a team that has been successful?
I think common goal. I think togetherness. Like I said before, I think a culture that involves everybody, whatever their position in the club, whether it be playing, coaching or support staff. No hierarchy, understanding how special our club is and the values and principles that the club and the city demand, really, and really being part of that and being proud to be part of it. And I think that, of course, we try and play with a style, we try and play with an identity, but as much as anything, we play with a lot of heart and soul as well, because we know who we're representing, and I think that's been a real key factor.
Brilliant, Steve. Thanks for your time. All the best.
Thanks, James. Thanks, mate.
Hey, Steve, you all right?
Hi, Beth.
Well, over the last however many months, you've kind of kept us at bay, saying one game at a time, one game at a time. Well, that game is finally here, Wembley. How excited are you?
Really excited, really excited. And I'm excited because I see how confident the players are. I see how engaged they are. I see how calm they are. That fills me with a lot of confidence and a lot of pride as well, just to see that they're really much looking forward to this game, because we've been on a bit of a journey for a couple of years. People have come and gone along the way, of course, that's what happens, but we're really looking forward on getting down to London and going playing on the big stage. So we want to thrive on it.
I don't know about you, but whenever I used to have a big game, I used to dream about it the week before it came about. Did you dream about these games, and how do they go? Does that happen to you?
I think about our preparation and our approach, and obviously analysing the opposition, but analysing us as well, and thinking about what might be the right team and game plan and whatever else. So, but that's normal for any game. I know there's a lot at stake and there's everything to play for, but that's more of a motivation, really. I think that's that drives the process. And we know that there's so much to play for, so much at stake. But we also know that we've got to really believe in how we play and how we work and how we are as a group of players and staff, and really be at our best, come the start of the game on Saturday. And I think that's where our focus is, But we know there's, the rewards are massive, and it's a massive motivation and driver for us.
Last question from me. You've only been in this job, as a first team manager for 2 years now. Unbelievable achievements already. But I'm wondering, from your point of view, I spoke to another manager who said when he started managing, he listened to other people and eventually realised it was his gut decision, his heart, his head. When it comes to Saturday, head or heart, is it your decisions? I'm guessing what I'm trying to say.
In what sense, Beth? Like team selection? And
yeah,
like
just
that?
Everything. I mean,
yeah, of course, that's what leadership is. Leadership is about making bold decisions and going what you think is right, and sort of comparing your decisions back to what you really believe in, and what you think is the right thing for getting the job done. That is leadership. And you can't keep everybody happy. I worked that one out quickly in first team football, but as long as I think you have open and honest communication with people, then at least everyone knows where they stand. So and that will never change. Not in my job or any other manager's job. That's just, or in any sport as well. That's just being a head coach, manager, leader, whatever you want to call it. So, but for sure, you have to make decisions, and that's why we're in these roles.
So a mix of heart and head, I'm guessing.
Hope so.